Happy Saturday and welcome to the Blitz, college football morning show hosted by Blake Gardner. Here we have Philip Smith with us this morning over at East West Football Network. How are we doing this morning, Phil?
Good, man.
Yeah, another Saturday and coming up for us. Week 2 going on here. First, though, I would like to take a couple seconds just to recognize it is the 20th year or 20th anniversary since 9/11. Um, such a tragic day for our country. You know we gotta show our support. For those people going through it, especially 20 years now. So we got Jake coming in here. So I just like to take a second and a moment of silence for them. But other than that, let's get right into it. What's going on, Jake?
So
So first game up this week that we're going to talk about is Pittsburgh versus Tennessee. Now this isn't a ranked matchup at all right now, which I think 6 weeks from now I think would be crazy. Because both this Pittsburgh and this Tennessee team are both 1-0 right now. What are you guys thinking against Tennessee versus Pittsburgh? Philip, we'll start with you.
I got Tennessee beating Pittsburgh. They're gonna have their defense. Is gonna overwhelm their offense, and I think Tennessee's weapons. They have a good recruiting class, and the wide receivers are gonna beat Pittsburgh easily.
Jake?
yeah, I agree with the same things. I think Tennessee's gonna win as well. I mean, we saw in their
Mhm.
first game that they won 38-6 their first week. I think Tennessee's gonna take it as well.
Yeah, I think we just got to watch Joe Milton. A lot of people remember him from Michigan last year. Transferred over here to Tennessee, so he's gonna be playing some SEC ball. Pittsburgh, though, I don't think we should take lightly. I think this game's gonna be a lot closer than we expect. But this will be a good test for Tennessee this year. So hopefully Tennessee comes out with the dub. But I got Tennessee winning. Pittsburgh will go down easy though. Next noon game, probably biggest game of the day, is number 12 Oregon goes to Ohio State. Ohio State's favorite minus 14.5 right now. So Jake, I'll start with you first this time. Do we think Ohio State wins by 15?
As much as I would like to say that Oregon could pull off the upset, because Ohio State did struggle a lot last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ohio State's gonna win probably by like 12. I'm not sure for sure that they win by the 14 or something, but I definitely think Ohio State's gonna win it and win it convincingly.
Okay, Philip, what do you think?
I'm going Oregon with the upset.
Ooh, first upset of the day. We got Oregon. Why we got Oregon with the upset?
I think Oregon's gonna come out with a high-powered offense. I think Ohio State's not gonna be able to handle it, and then it's gonna be a high-scoring game, and Oregon's gonna put it out there.
Honestly, so Kayvon Thibodeau, the number 1 overall ranked prospect in the world right now. Actually, I said the country, my bad, not the world. But he's still day to day. We don't know if he's going to play. I don't know if there's been updates this morning. But as of right now, we don't know if he's going to play. So that's Oregon's best player. Not only Oregon's, but the country's best player. You take him out and you take the way both of these teams played last week. Oregon squeezed out a 7 win over who they play? Fresno State, and Ohio State rallied in the second and really in the third quarter to make that game look good. But Ohio State was down to Minnesota very early in the third quarter. So both of these teams off a tough week. I think Ohio State pulls the dub out, but like you said, Jake, I don't think we can expect 14.5 unless that all comes in the fourth quarter, which I wouldn't be surprised. OSU just gets moving, gets going, and just kind of outruns Oregon State basically. But I think Oregon will put up a fight. So we got 2-1, two saying Ohio State, 1 saying Oregon. Philip in these upsets. CJ Stroud, big name to watch in that game. He's gonna throw for probably 300 against the Oregon defense who has a D end, but outside of that, what our Pac-12 defense is known for, giving up a lot of points, but also giving a lot of points. So we'll see what Chris Olave and Stroud can do today. CJ Stroud, great game last week, honestly. If you look at his pure stats, it jumped him up in the Heisman race, I think from like 5 to like 3. So we'll watch him today. But yeah, I like Ohio State. So we got 2 OSU, 1 Oregon. Next game at 3:30 that we'll be paying real close attention to is Texas A&M in Colorado. Now, the money line is -17. So that means one of two things. Either one, Colorado must, like, we're sleeping on Colorado, or B, Vegas doesn't think Texas A&M is as good as they are. So what do we think? We're going to start with you first, Philip.
I think Texas A&M beats Colorado. Again, Texas A&M is always a tough team, and I think that defensively, there can be too much for Colorado. I think they're going to make it a low-scoring game, but I think Texas A&M is gonna struggle a little bit to replace Kellen Mond at quarterback and his weapons that they had last year. So I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Texas A&M beats them defensively.
Yeah. Adding on to that, Texas A&M quarterback Hayes King did not really play well at all last week, and they still won 41-10. He had 3 interceptions, and so if they're able to do that and win 41-10, I think that anything better than that, they'll be in a much better position to win. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to bring that up. The 3 picks last week by King. I don't even know the guy, but me and Philip were talking about before the show. The SEC is filled with guys that are unknown right now, so that's not the big story. But yeah, 3 picks last week, still win 41-10. Granted, I'm pretty sure they're playing Kent State, but both their running backs had 100 yards last night too, or on that night, week 1, 2. So if they're able to do that again, then yeah, they should be able to win, 41-10, no matter what the quarterback play is like. But I just really thought this was like an eye opener because it's only -17. I know I don't get too much into lines and spreads, but I'm thinking, -21 at least. I'm thinking maybe -25, 26. So I think A&M wins by at least 3 or 4 touchdowns today. The fact that they have a spread smaller than that, kind of worries me, and I'd definitely be keeping my eye on that game. At 4:30, number 10 takes on number 9, Iowa versus Iowa State. Iowa's number 10, Iowa State's number 9. Iowa State is favored by -4.5 points. So this actually be a really good game, rivalry game. Who we taking, Jake?
This is a really tough one. I mean, yeah, it is a rivalry game. They both are thing. I think I'm gonna go with Iowa. I mean, Iowa last week dismantled Indiana. I mean, it was 34-6. I just feel like they played them. It looks better in week 1. Obviously, spread's not that big. I just think that Iowa's gonna be able to pull off the win.
Okay, what are we thinking, Philip?
It is going to be a tough game. Iowa is going to have that defense. They always play physical and have a defense. But I'm gonna have to go with Iowa State because of the quarterback. Brock Purdy is gonna come in there. He's gonna throw dimes. He's gonna run off the read option, and he's gonna be the one that overcomes Iowa and wins.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Philip. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Iowa State simply because of Brock Purdy. I've watched him. We've all watched him the last couple of years, so we kind of know what he can do. We know at least what he's capable of. Versus Stephen Petrus, I'm not 100. That last week, great game. To do that against Indiana State. So, I mean, is he still proving himself? Yes. So, I mean, he gotta keep proving himself. For me, I think Brock Purdy and that running back Iowa State's got Bryce Hall. I think it is. I think that duo is going to be great this weekend. -4.5, like you said, that's a very close spread. But I'm going to take Iowa State here on this one. Our next game, our 7:30 game, Texas, number 15, Texas at Arkansas. Texas -7. First, me and Philip were talking about this earlier as well. This is their first game. Now that we know that they're coming to the SEC, that they're playing an SEC team. So with that being said, Jake, how do you feel about Texas versus Arkansas?
I mean, I think Texas is gonna win, for sure. I mean, Arkansas did win by a lot last week, but they were playing Rice, so
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully good thing that Texas.
They played Louisiana last week. I thought they were going to get upset, but they actually played better than I thought.
Yeah, they played better than I thought, so I think Texas is going to win. I honestly thought the spread would be a little bit higher. It's only about like at 7. I think it could be more at 10, something like that.
What do we think, Philip?
I think Arkansas dominates. And they're going to run the ball down their throat. They're going to play defense. And they're going to just beat them up. I think they're just going to beat Texas up. I don't think Texas is ready for that. Not
You think
right now.
you think they're just going to come through with the good old SEC style football? And
I think they're going to stomp them out. I think they're going to stomp Texas out, man.
Yeah. I mean, I like Texas to get upset this week too. Arkansas, I mean, they're kind of doing it for the entire SEC right now. I don't think Texas is ready for that SEC. But Jake, we both said it, like, did not expect them to play that good last week. They beat 23rd ranked overall Raging Cajuns last week. So, I mean, definitely not a team to sleep on. But I like Texas to get upset this week with an even closer spread than last week. 10:30 night game, we have Stanford versus USC. Stanford coming off a big win against, I forget who, but Stanford's coming off it was either a close loss or a big win last weekend. But the line for this game is USC -17. USC actually lost to Kansas State, if I'm not mistaken. I need to double check that.
Stanford lost to Kansas State. USC.
Stanford was the one that lost to Kansas State. So they are in a bounce back week against the number 14 team. How do you think they'll fare, Jake?
I think USC is going to win. I mean, the spread is 17 for a reason. Stanford lost to not the best of schools, and Kansas State's okay, but like they are not anything amazing to me. And USC really took care of business against San Jose State, so I think that they're going to take care of business again and just hit the win.
Yes, sir. What about you, Philip?
I agree. USC and Slovis has to show out, and he's projected to be one of the top quarterbacks in the draft. So I think Slovis is gonna trying to put up big numbers against Stanford.
Yeah, I like Slovis too. Last week he threw the ball 36 times, had 256 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. So not mediocre, but not eye-opening numbers. So like you said, we already need to see him show out a little bit for this game. If USC wants to start making those playoff pushes, he's got to start, opening eyes for sure. But with that being said, it's kind of hard to say with Stanford losing to K-State, but is the Pac-12 going to be competitive enough with those top, like USC, UCLA, Oregon, or do you think at least one of them will be tough enough this year to get that playoff spot, one of those playoff spots?
If I had to pick if the Pac-12 thing, I think I would say no. I mean, the Pac-12 has some very good teams. I just feel like, we have to think about how every year how restrictive it is. There's so many good teams that don't make it because it's 14. And I think that but no, I just don't think I can. I mean, it's so early, but I don't think anyone from Pac-12 is the top 14.
Definitely, what you think, Philip? I mean, let me ask you this: if somebody was to crack that top 4 at the end of the year in the Pac-12, Philip, who do you think it'll be?
I can't see it. I mean, you got the ACC, SEC, you got the Big Ten. I no one. I don't.
I can't even see it.
I can't even see it.
I think we'll sneak 2 SEC teams in again this year. I think it's gonna be Bama and Georgia, unless Florida we start playing amazing this year, and we play to their level of Bama, Georgia, and we can beat Georgia. Then I think SEC might get 2 teams, Alabama and Georgia, or even Alabama and Florida, or maybe even Alabama A&M. So yeah, I don't think there's any room for a Pac-12 team in the top 4, at least not this year. That brings up, playoff expansion and all that. But as far as this year, top 4, yeah, Pac-12, probably not happening. We'll hit some other games real quick going on today, not as competitive of games as we all know. It's, week 2, week 1, a lot of teams play FCS teams and smaller teams that just try to get themselves going. So I'm actually a little excited for this. UF's got USF. We're headed there down in Tampa right now. That game kicks off at 1. Everybody's got UF to win. What I'll be watching for personally will quarterback play, Emory Jones, and our one on defense is, everybody was mad we let up 14 points against FAU last week, but that was the last 10 minutes of the game, 8 minutes of the game where, we had everybody playing. So as long as our defense plays the way we did last week, that's all I'll be watching for. You guys got your eye on any games specifically this week?
Well, I do think it's going to be important to see Emory Jones play better because he did not. Even though Florida, won pretty convincingly, Emory Jones struggled. And if they want to compete with the better teams in the SEC, they're going to need to play better. I mean, obviously, we know that who they had last year, but I just think that they're going to need to see him better.
What do you think, Philip, about that? We talked earlier about Emory and Anthony Richardson, but what do you think? We're good against USF, right?
Yeah. I think Emory, again, he's one of those quarterbacks this year that's going to sneak in and do his thing, especially with Florida. Florida always has good weapons on offense. And I want to see Emory take that step. I want to see the same guys from the same schools. Ohio State has a quarterback, the Heisman hopeful, or Clemson has a Heisman. No, I want to see a Florida guy in there. I want to see Emory get in there and do some things.
Yeah, it's been real frustrating the last few seasons how we're always right there around like that 8-4 range, or 8-5 range, I should say, right there at the end of the year. So I also am looking forward to seeing Mullen take that next step because Mullen's done great while he's been in Gainesville, but we gotta break it. We need a top 3 team one of these years. A top 4 playoff team one of these years. We've been way too close. We've had so much talent. Like the trash last year. How often do you does a first round receiver, tight end, and quarterback come to you? Which trash went second round, but you know what I'm saying, top 2 round, you have 3 weapons that win the top two rounds of the NFL draft. That doesn't come to you much. So as far as offensive speaking, I'm not looking for the explosiveness of last year. I'm looking for productiveness, but really my eyes on Emory himself and the defense for that game. Georgia's taking on UAB, and the spread for this was only like I don't have it here, but the spread for this was way lower than
it's like
could have even guessed. Yeah, 23 against UAB. I mean, I know once you get to a certain number, like that, that spread only matters so much. But I hopefully Georgia beats UAB by at least 5 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. I think if Georgia doesn't win by at least 21 today, 28, I don't even think they're gonna be number 2 no more. So that line is one to watch for sure.
I mean, the one thing I'd say that is is that even though it's not like they played a good team UAB the first week, they did win 31-0. So maybe that's just like a tiny bit thing is that maybe they're like, yeah, we know that Georgia's gonna win, but do we want to just automatically throw up 30 in there or something? That's one possible thought.
Well, it's still early on too, so Vegas has only seen, like you were just saying, so much of both of these teams. But just the way Georgia dominated Cincinnati, or not Cincinnati, Clemson. They had 7 sacks against Clemson. I don't even know. I bet if you looked up the total sacks Trevor Lawrence had, it's probably around 7. And the entire time he was at Clemson, it's probably around 7. But we'll see. Like I said, Georgia's got to win by 3 to 4 touchdowns for them to stay at 2. I think they lose by if they win, I should say, by thing smaller than that, then they should definitely probably drop. Especially being a Florida fan, I would like to see them not do as good as they can today. Cincinnati got Murray State. That should be a dub. I think that line is a plus. Alabama, they play Mercer every year, like week 2. So we know the line for that. South Carolina State at Clemson. I just want to bring this up, just so everybody can hear this. Clemson is the 6th ranked team in the nation. That is so crazy to hear because Clemson's only been 1 or 2, maybe 3, highest rank in the last 3-4 years. So what do you guys think about Clemson this year?
I mean, it's weird seeing Clemson have a losing record, just because normally if they don't when they lose, it's in the playoffs. So then they're 12 or 13-1. Seeing them 0-1 is such a you're right. It's such a weird feeling, and I mean, I still think they're going to be very good, and they're favored to win by 50 against South Carolina State. But it was definitely surprising to see a team, especially just how they lost in week 1.
This is what happens
I haven't seen any South Carolina State games, so I don't know what to expect. But go ahead, Philip.
This is what happens when you lose your superstar, right? I mean, when Stanford lost Andrew Luck and the Beta lost RG3 and Cam Newton left and all Tebow, with Florida and those when you lose your superstar, this is what happens sometimes. So Clemson has to. Everybody can't be Alabama and just keep on having that machine rolling. But so Clemson's gonna have to figure out how to recruit and get better weapons around the quarterback and see if they can get back to that level.
I think right now we're going to learn if Clemson, which they've made themselves a dynasty over the last 5-6 years, but that's just literally, over the last 5-6 years. We're going to see now if that sticks, there's no Trevor no more, So does that stick? Are you guys a top program in the country? Was it just Trevor? Was it just a couple good recruiting classes, or are you guys real deal one of the best programs in the country? So they like you said, spread was 50. I think they'll win big. But like Jake said, 0-1 to see them 0-1 is crazy, and to see them ranked number 6 is also crazy to me. OU. They dropped down last week. We got Walt down there saying, "What's up, fellas? What's up, Walt?" He's in here watching this morning. We got OU and West Carolina this week. OU's taking on West Carolina. This will be that bounce back game that Spencer Rattler needs, that OU needs. Now it's going to be hard to sneak back up in that top 3 now. So we'll see. This is going to be a good, interesting week for a lot of these teams, these top teams playing these FCS teams. And a lot of people just assume it's a win and just that this week doesn't matter. But the way they play these teams has a lot to do with placement, especially among these top 10 placings. So what are you guys thinking of OU? OU's good this weekend, right?
No, absolutely. That'll be a beatdown. Spencer Rattler's gonna go off. He's probably gonna throw for 500 yards or some crazy number, some crazy stat, and it'll be a wrap.
I mean, yeah, I think OU's got to be a little mad about how close it was between them and Tulane. I think they got to have more motivation to come out and actually like dominate this time. Yeah, because they only beat Tulane by 6. I mean 5. So
yeah, exactly. I was watching that game and I was trying to wait for them to get up 2 to 3 touchdowns so I could turn the TV to another game, and it wasn't happening. I was like, damn, like Tulane's playing them really good right now. So it's just definitely this is a game they need to get back and score big, score early. Don't let up a lot of points. Like they don't need to let up more than like 14 to this team. They need to score 50, plus this week. Like, it's one of those weeks for them. Especially when you got Georgia and Bama at number 1 and 2. Who's at 3 right now? Ohio State. Ohio State, yeah. So now Clemson's trying to get back into that, or OU's trying to get back into that top 3. That's gonna be a hard one to crack, especially if Ohio State wins today. If Ohio State wins today, they pretty much secured their top 3 spot for the next 3-4 weeks. So we just got to keep an eye on all of these very small games. The last one I do want to look at is Toledo versus Notre Dame. I think this will actually be the closest game out of these top 10 teams that are playing FSC. I think this would be the one to watch. Notre Dame plays FSU scary close last week. And is that an ode to FSU, or does Notre Dame need to hit the panic button a little bit? What do you think, Jay?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
I'm talking about last week. Notre Dame took on FSU. Are we giving FSU props for that game, saying that they're getting better, or are we saying Notre Dame needs to pump the brakes and evaluate what they got? Is it Notre Dame playing down, or is it FSU playing up?
I think it was a little bit of both, but I do think Notre Dame did play down a lot. And I mean, obviously, a lot of people heard about the message that the coach said after the game. That was pretty controversial to some people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just that message indicates their thoughts on it. It does feel like Notre Dame definitely could have played better. So yeah, I would say I do want to give FSU credit for sure, but I do think it was more Notre Dame playing down.
Yes. What do you think, Philip? Did you watch that game last week?
I did, and I think Notre Dame should hit the panic button because if Mackenzie Milton had started that game, I think they beat them easily.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Mackenzie Milton, for everybody who doesn't know, was UCF's quarterback when they went 12-0, if I'm not mistaken. So guy can throw, guy can sling. He had that terrible, tragic leg injury where they wasn't even sure if he was going to walk again. But here he is 3 years later on the Florida State roster, and he came in literally at the end of the game and had 2 back-to-back touchdown scoring drives to send it in OT against the number 8 team in the nation. So I'm gonna watch on the FSU team, kind of scary for a UF fan like myself, but the actual Toledo versus Notre Dame game this week. Notre Dame will be looking to bounce back, but I think this will be the closest one this week. I think I forget who was Toledo played last week. Toledo played somebody last week, and they played very good. I definitely should have had that written down. But Notre Dame should win. The spread's probably pretty high, but this is one Notre Dame's got to, like all these other teams, like OU, like you guys want to stay in these top 5 rankings, you got to prove top 10 rankings. You got to prove this every week. You can beat these smaller teams by 21 plus. So I think that'll be all these games are ones to watch. Until home team gets up 25, the ranked team gets up 25. These all are games to keep your eye on for sure. You guys, what Heisman front runner right now for both of you guys? Jake, starting with you.
Honestly, I think you should go to Philip Wars because I haven't honestly watched enough to be like, oh yeah, after 1 week, I think I have someone who separated the pack. So if you can.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to have somebody separated for sure, but yeah. I mean, I just the way Bama. What was it? Sorry, I was just thinking of Bama's quarterback, like just the way he played. And you know, like, Bama, they had Tua and Jalen, but like, and Mac Jones, I guess. Besides those three, they haven't really had Heisman prospect quarterbacks. They usually have really good quarterbacks, but usually not always Heisman prospect. Bryce Young definitely is. Spencer Rattler, I want to see get better this week as well. Wall said earlier, he said, Oklahoma has to get better defensively, or they'll always be behind the cream of the crop.
Facts.
Facts. Yeah, just because, like, especially when he says cream of the crop, I'm thinking that top four where they're at every year, you know, and that to win one of those playoff games, yeah, they're gonna have to get way better defensively for sure. But yeah, like I said, guys, that's pretty much all the games we got for today. Number 12, Oregon at 3, Ohio State will be the biggest game to watch. That comes on here in about 30 minutes. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and get ready to watch that. But that is all from us. Unless you guys have anything else to add for week 2 games?
No, I don't. I think we're good.
Like I say, Spencer Rattler's gonna put out some big numbers today. So
I know you're trying to avoid it, and we didn't really talk about it, but Miami, do they get the win against Appalachian State today?
Man, I don't know. We pushing the panic button right now. I don't know. I don't know. We got beat
all right, well, just
know,
just because y'all got beat down last week, we remember what y'all was saying last week before the beat down about Miami, but Miami fans have gotten real quiet. So I'll be watching Miami too this week. They dropped down to 22 overall, but they got Appalachian State, so they're looking to bounce back as well. Walt said, look, Walt said.
All right.
Walt's got App State with the win, man. All right, so you heard it here first. Walt's got App State winning against Miami. I'm gonna go ahead and agree with him. Miami's going down 0-2 this week, but that's all from us here at the Blitz, man. Until next time, every Saturday at 11 a.m. Thank you guys, Philip and Jake, for being on this week, man. And hopefully we'll all be back next week.
All right.
Hey. Peace.